Gentlemen, welcome to the 12th thematic session on digital empowerment and capacity building. And I welcome you all to Akhil Bharatiya Shiksha Samagam. And thank you so much. And I will just start by introducing the panel and telling a bit about the structure of the program. As we all know, digital empowerment and capacity building are among the most important themes, not just from an education perspective, but from a larger societal perspective. And I was going through the panel and trying to understand what the mix is, and I can assure you I could not have been more excited in introducing any other panel and a group than what I am doing today. So in the chair today, we have Professor Kamakoti, and any of us who has been associated with digital or digital technology, particularly from the Government of India perspective, cannot be not introduced to Professor Kamakoti. He's the chairman of Artificial Intelligence Task Force, and any of you who have heard of platforms like SWAYAM and NPTEL? How many of you, can I get a hands up on SWAYAM and NPTEL? Good. How many of you have heard of the first full-fledged high-quality BS data analytics program from IIT Madras? Can you please raise your hand? Great. So all of this is being done and more under Professor Kamakoti. He's a cyber security expert. So while this gives some introduction, I thought that I will go with what has been my understanding of his role and the critical stakeholder that he has been for Government of India Ministry of Education in general for various areas, and very, very happy to have someone with a really smiling face to start the day for us. Thank you for that. That's Professor Kamakoti. Next, I would invite another key collaborator from Ministry of Education, and I am the Director of Digital Education, so very important interface for us. Professor Nageshwar Rao, he's the Vice Chancellor of Indira Gandhi National Open University, and I can say that you just have to understand what it really means to try and create graduates for the nation. I mean, it really sounds like a very banal and a very trivial kind of a statement, but imagine in India where the GER is just not there. It is today we are, when we are at 30%, 32%, we still feel we have to double it, and 50%, 60%, and IGNOU has been the backbone, the spine of demonstrating access, reach, quality, and you will feel and you'll be surprised. I mean, in the ministry, you will see people, top officers who have graduations from IGNOU. You find people in private sector whose graduation, post-graduation, upskilling they are doing through IGNOU. And I mean, I would take a moment to also introduce Professor Nageshwar Rao's colleague here, Professor Uma Kanjilal. Together, they work on language translation, and they are doing broadcast in multiple languages. So I'm drifting a bit away from what is there on the paper that I'm sure is distributed, is presented, but I'm trying to show what is the mandate they are having and how well they are delivering under the guidance of Professor Nageshwar Rao. So anything digital automatically comes with a track of access built into it. So that's a very, very important component, and that is where we leverage strongly on his expertise, his understanding, and the scale at which he has been operating is unmanageable. And talking of scale, I would like to invite Mr. Raghav Gupta on the stage. And Mr. Raghav has been trying to find scale through a very high-end, quite the dramatic end of the spectrum through Coursera. Now, since I hold the post of Director of Digital Education in Ministry of Education, this is an example I look into every second or third day. So anything innovative, how do you benchmark quality, how do you find models, how do you create models? Some of the important initiatives of digital which are planned, some of them are budget announcement like Digital University. A lot of learnings, a lot of interesting things which Coursera does, and is a very, very interesting and a great lighthouse, I would say, for promoting high quality, high-end brand in digital education. And Mr. Raghav Gupta leads the India and APAC region, has been an entrepreneur, lot of experience, and will bring a dramatically, I mean, it's a combination of, you can say, the academic rigor and the corporate vigor on the stage, and I'm getting excited as I introduce each of the panelists. Next, I have Mr. Shankar Maruwada, and once again, those of us who have been in the public sector and the public sector education, e-governance space, Mr. Shankar is no stranger. He was the co-founder of Ek Step Foundation, along with the founder and ex-CEO of Infosys, Mr. Nandan Nilekani. And I can almost say that anything digital comes with its own challenges of identity, data security, data privacy. Can we use Aadhaar? Can we not use Aadhaar? If there is one person, in case you want a reliable input, and if you can somehow manage to get it onto Mr. Shankar, he's the right guy. He's the man, along with the team, I would say, but a key person, a stakeholder in whole Aadhaar development and everything else. And through his team, we are also working very closely on other projects like, how many of you have heard of National Digital Education Architecture? NDR? Yeah, you all are familiar with NDR. So his team is a key stakeholder in the consultation, everything, and the whole aspect of building registries and all of this. We are heavily leveraging on his this thing. And those of you who respect academic brands, he's also from IIT Kharagpur, I am Ahmedabad. So we have got all the brains on this panel right now. And I welcome you, sir, and look forward to your input. Particularly, I mean, I myself struggle every second day, and I think my colleague Rahul is also here. Rahul, are you there? Rahul Pachari? Yeah. I think he just left the room. So we keep discussing this, that how can we use what is consented, what is not, what is verifiable consent, and all those things. So great interest. And in this digital session, we also have a medical doctor among us. Dr. Balu, may I please request you to come on stage? And while Dr. Balu is a medical doctor by graduation, his main contribution has been in the field of development sector. So he has worked with the tribal communities for more than 30 years. And he's currently a visiting professor at Cornell, USA and IIT Delhi. So you had taken a session for me during my joining at the IIPA, and it was great to listen to you at that point of time. And he brings a very heady mix of micro and macro perspective. I mean, that's something he has been very hands-on, almost dealing on an individual basis, as well as now engaging at the policy level. And a lot of interesting things as member HR for Capacity Building Commission he would bring to table. And usually we begin with the introduction of ladies first, but I've kept it the best for the last. So I invite Mrs. M.F. Febin. And what the most interesting part was that she was a civil engineering student. And this is in the year 1990 to 94. I'm very sure, ma'am, you would have been probably one in your entire engineering, in the civil engineering domain at that point of time. Yeah, so we have someone like that. She began as a design engineer for Engineering Design and Research Center at L&T. And how many of you have seen the High-Techs building in Hyderabad, Madhapur? Okay. So I believe if I understand correctly, then she has the design patent registered for the structural design on at least the joints of the High-Techs building in her name. And she also received the Women Engineer 2008 from Institute of Engineers. And as if all this was not enough, she was also heading the defense construction business for L&T before now moving into heading the education technology vertical and leading a college connect kind of a program. And bulk of her background is into design and putting structures together, and a very, you can say, mix of the softer part which comes as a part of engineering, and we really hope that there are interesting models that would be coming up as a part of that. And I hope this gives a sense of what kind of panel we have got here. There's a brief schedule which I have received. I'll just share that for the. So we'll be starting with the introduction from the chair, followed by 10 minutes each from each of the panelists, and then we have some time slotted for interaction with the audience. With this much, I would leave the stage to Learned Professor Kamakoti to take the proceedings forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gaurav. Very, very good morning, and it's a very refreshing morning here because we are going to talk about, in our opinion, a session which can be or which will be a game changer for our country. Specifically, when you look at digital technologies, intervention into education, we are looking at a different scale in which we have to bring in this whole education platform, wherein there is a big requirement. Take any field today, like if you are looking at AI or data science or electronics, at every point we are looking at educating thousands of engineers, thousands of skilled manpower and bring them to the industry, take them to the research programs. And this type of a need, when it occurs, I think digital technology becomes one of the most important components into this entire framework. So this is the actual genesis of why we have this session today. And we have a lot of veterans. I'd like to basically introduce for people who don't know, I'm sure all of you will know, Professor Pathak is here, who has been our Pitamaha for the education, specifically online education. So I just want to start with a Josh. Please give a round of applause to Professor Pathak. So friends, we had two interesting interventions starting at 2020 after NEP was announced. One was on open and distance learning program and online program regulations. It was announced in 2020, and then we subsequently had amendments in 2021 and 2022. And then also online credit framework, where AICTE came out and said 40% of the course you can take online, and that came in 2021. Subsequently, we had ERP solutions, the Summit platform, which could actually track the student end to end from the time the student enters into the portal till a lot more time where they do multiple courses. And this was important because they don't get affiliated to a university, so there is a need for an ERP which maintains the track of the progress of the student. And then we did have a very scalable LMS through Swayam, a learning management system. These are some of the offerings that from the government we had given. And these are successful today. There are very, very big success stories. We have close to 1.4 million people who take Swayam courses and credit transfer them to the respective universities. Now, with this as a background today, we have three important things to be discussed in this forum. I have an exciting panel here. We have a person from IGNOU, the largest open university. We have people from the EdTech and also from the Capacity Commission. Now, the question number one is the importance of this particular platform from an upskilling and reskilling point of view, and also value addition. Like we do a course here, we do an undergraduate program. Do we add what sort of value addition does this digital intervention brings in? So are we doing enough, or there needs to be something more that we need to do? So this is question number one to the panelist. Second thing is about the infrastructure. Infrastructure today we have, as I mentioned, we have an ERP, we have many ERPs exist, but we have one that is offered by the government. We have many learning management solutions. Is there a need to bring in more? Specifically that we have a national digital education architecture, the NDR that we are talking of. What should be some additions to it, or are we doing enough, or something more we need to do? And the second part is, what are the changes in pedagogy that we can bring here? So we are already talking about the AR and VR. There are a lot of demos that you see in the exhibition today, where virtual reality, augmented reality, animation, gaming are basically used for a much more effective way by which we communicate to the student. So is this enough, or we need to do more on that? So how is the pedagogy going to change because of technological interventions? And the next, third important thing is in the access. So how do we bridge this access? So today we have BharatNet, we have 5G coming up. So is there something more we need to do to basically get out from the digital divide? So this is infrastructure and adoption. What are the things that is expected? Are we doing enough, or we need more? And the last one is about the guidelines. So we have certain guidelines, as I mentioned. We have the open and distance learning program guideline, and also the credit framework, 40% online course framework that we had put. Are these guidelines enough, or we need more acts or more DMs or OMs from our ministry, which will enable you to do much more things? So do we need much more, sort of guidelines that are needed? So these are some three important points that we need to discuss, and I'm sure we can't get a better panel to basically deliberate on these three activities. So sum up, the importance, are we doing enough on reskilling, upskilling and value addition? Is our infra sufficient, or we need infra sufficient in the sense that we need to add any new kind of infrastructure? Is our adoption sufficient, or we need new types of adoption? Are our guidelines enough, or we need more guidelines? So these are the three questions. With that, I'll first invite Ibno to basically Professor Nagesh Rao to take his remarks.
Where? This is forward. Huh? No, it is already there. That is. Respected Professor Pathak, Chair, and my fellow panelists, it's an honor for me to be with you to share the facts, basic facts, with respect to the infrastructure which is available in the country with respect to digital empowerment. Empowerment to whom? For teachers, for the institutions, and also for the learners. And lot has to be done in this context. But we have done a lot that needs to be shared, and that we must understand. And these things, they will help us to build our capacity building initiatives in a much more effective way. I have got a few slides, and I will quickly run those slides. The basic purpose of showing these slides is to show that information, to show that statistics which is available, for which educational institutions, they all have done a lot. Talking about the digital empowerment, there are tools, there are interventions, and those interventions, they all are quite useful to all of us, and we are knowing those tools also effectively. It is not working. I have to show there or here? These are the major digital interventions. Already, Kamakoti ji has talked about Swayam, but I would like to add 4, 5, 6. They are the major interventions which have taken place during the last 3 to 4 years. Talk about Swayam or the Swayam Prabha. Then Samarth also, he referred to it, virtual labs, online learning. NDLI is also a big source, and the social media, that's very, very important, which most of us are using. You all can use it one, or you can use a combination of any of these 2 or 3. And I will give you some basic details of each of these interventions which have taken place. It is not working. Swayam, 2017 initiative, much before when the NEP was there. We are already having this sort of infrastructure, more than 3,000 courses. The courses are in social sciences, in engineering, in management, even in education also. And there were coordinators like AICT, NPTEL, UGC, CEC, NCRT, all these were the contributors. And they all have provided courses, more than 3,000 courses. They are being made available. And present status is that 3.52 crore learners, they are in this Swayam portal. It talks about the course-wise registration. First time we talked about this issue, that not to focus on programs, but we can think in terms of the courses. And this is the 4-quadrant approach. All of us know about it. And now these Swayam courses, they were also translated into 12 regional languages. And around 900 courses, they have been translated so far. This is about IGNU also, and as one institution, we have also contributed 222 courses, and around 2 lakh learners, they're also registered with us. The credit transfer, for which the Gazette notification has come, and our chair has also referred to it, that 40% credit transfer that can be used. And why it is important to all of us is, when we are talking about the multidisciplinary programs, then initially we feel that how to go for it. IIT wants to have a course in Hindi. IIT wants to have a course in economics. Immediately they ask the students to register on SWAYAM, which is free of cost. And then the credit transfer of that course, it can be done with the IITs. Or if you want to any course in the IT or in the engineering, for that also, the courses can be, we can have it from SWAYAM, and those credits, once you pass those examinations through NTA, then that can also be transferred. So multidisciplinary, when we are talking about in 2020, most of us were thinking that how to go for it. Without creating our own infrastructure at our own place, we can do that also. Then credit transfer, even for us also, people were not knowing much about it, but most of the institutions, for example, if you look at these IITs, their credit transfer process is much, much faster. Even for us also, 129 courses were with us. And we have seen that 126 universities they have adopted and spread in 24 states. Even look at some of the courses which are very, very popular. So you see that the credit transfer, most of us, we can go for it and we'll get good results. And they all are the SWAYAM courses, for which the expertise of the experts, it was being made available from these prestigious institutions, and the results are very, very encouraging. Of course, out of these 3.5 crores, 20 lakh certificates they have been issued for the credit transfer by the NTA. It is the Ministry of Education. Then Academic Bank of Credit, it is also one more initiative, and you'll find that 1.2 crore accounts they have been opened. And lots of things they are going on. It is like a bank. Whatsoever we pass, that will be transferred to our Academic Bank of Credit. Earlier, if a program, an individual has, a learner has done it, for example, BCom, he has done 18 courses. And he could clear only 17 courses. He could not clear the 18th one. His entire effort will go waste. Now it's not like that. Every course which he clears, that will be transferred to this Academic Bank of Credit. And now most of the central universities and also the state universities, they have also joined this initiative, and they all are registered in this great initiative of this NEP. And it's because that the credit transfer is also possible with this structure. Even for our own structure, we can share that out of 1.2 crores, 20 lakhs, they are from IGNU itself. One institution can do it, and anyone, the more than 100 institutions they have been added, so they also can join this process. Now, DigiLocker, here also we see that almost all our degrees, they have been put in the DigiLocker. So that is also an initiative through which we can save the paper, and we see that your degrees, they are being preserved, and it can be reused, it can be shared with any other agency. Swayam Prabha, this is another initiative again from 2017. And you will find that there are 34 channels right at this point of time. Yesterday, Prime Minister has also talked about it. And we are thinking in terms of more than 200 channels for the primary education. And these channels, they are mostly being run by UGC, CEC, NPTEL, and also the IGNU. The importance of using these channels is, now the education is at the doorstep of the learners. It is not in NEP. Much before the implementation of the NEP, this was started in 2017. And now the plan is that the number is going to be increased to 60, maybe in the next 1 or 2 months. Official announcement is to be made, I think. Now you see that more than 1 lakh videos are available. And institution is providing 4 hours of content, and they are being reused again and again. And you see that it is available on YouTube also. And that is why the statistics of YouTube is also available with us, 6+ crores. They are the viewers since inception in this Swayamprabha channels. By using this Swayamprabha, what we could do is that when the government of India or Ministry of Education is thought that let us go for the mother tongue teaching learning process, immediately we use this channel. And what we have done is the social science programs, history, political science, the public administration, sociology, these subjects on undergraduate level. What we thought is, let these subjects, they can be taught in mother tongue. Immediately we could go for it by using this Swayamprabha. And you see that the sociology, political science, history, all these papers, they are being taught in mother tongue, Telugu, Malayalam, Punjabi, Odia, and you will find that by this date, we are having 4,500 plus videos which are available in YouTube also. This is a continuous process, and a time will come when you will find that more and more videos they will be available. And these videos, they can be reused also whenever they find, and they can be edited also at a later stage. Samarth, for which already our chairperson has talked about it, it's an open source. Delhi University is doing it and helping all of us. All the central universities, they are registered to this portal. And 40 universities, they are now getting the benefit. Basically, common modules, they are the 40. And you will find that these 40 modules, mostly the recruitment portal, we are using it. And I came to know that some of the institutions who are in the state government, even the colleges also, they are using this recruitment model. The recruitment process becomes transparent. Then you will find that the student life cycle, for which also the chairperson has talked about it, that is also, that can be used. Blockchain, this is, earlier I have taken the help of the IIT Kanpur, and this time I could take the help of Samarth. Blockchain, by single click of the chief guest, all our degrees, they can reach to the learners immediately through their emails. So that is the advantage. No postage, no delivery, no need to come to the office of the institution, and all the degrees, they can reach to the learner. This is also the initiative of Samarth. And one more intervention is the alumni platform. Here also we wanted to connect to our alumni, because our alumni is 38 lakhs. And we wanted to reach those numbers. And for that, digitally we tried to experiment with this idea, having a portal on for the alumni. And this digital alumni platform, for which already we are having 60,000 people registered, they are interacting with each other also continuously basis. And here also we are having the videos. Those videos, they can also be shared with each other. Then the e-governance, already sir is here. And e-governance mechanism, lots of support the Samarth is giving to the e-governance and our back office automation processes also. Then NDLI, more than 9 crore books are available, 600 sources are there, and you'll find that 400 plus languages, they are available. And I do remember in 2019, the number is around 4 crores, and now it is 9.1 crores. So the way these available resources are with us, and from different sources at one place, the same can be used for the purpose of research, for the purpose of teaching learning process. Virtual labs, IITs, they contribute significantly in that endeavor. And you'll find that more than 1,300 experiments, they are currently available. And 40 lakh learners, they are using this particular facility. So this initiative, you'll find that not only IITs, even Dayalbagh University is also having this facility. COE Pune is also there. Amrita University is also there. So virtual labs now that can be created. Of course, we have to do some more work in the field of social sciences and humanities. Online programs, already sir has talked about it. First time we are having regulations in 2018, then 2020. It was integrated as ODL and online regulations. 67 universities, they have been asked to go for it. Initially, without any long-term approval process. The UGC has done it quickly, and around 400 programs, they have been permitted all over the country regarding the online programs. And you'll find that even in IGNOU also, we are having 44 online programs, and even Prime Minister has talked about it, and everyone knows about it. IIT Madras, BSc degree in programming and data science. And that shows that in that area also, the online programs, they can give tremendous results. And the reach, the contents, and the popularity that also you're finding, they are giving us extremely good results. For us also, we are having around 27,000 learners. I do remember in January 2021, we are having only 500 learners. And now it is 2,700 learners. Only we are having 15 to 20 UG and PG programs. So once we see, because initially IGNOU is also having 5,000 learners in 1985. Now it is 35 lakh learners. So this is the progression which you'll find as the number grows and as the technology and the reach improves. Then digital content, that is also one of the biggest interventions which we also thought about it. We started offering 15% fee concession to those learners who wanted to get the material in digital form. And initially the people were feeling that we may not go for it, students may not go for it. But now the percentage is around 20% of the learners, fresh learners, they are opting for the digital content. And 33% they are opting who are the re-registered students, second year or third year. So this digital intervention, initially, it was not looking so much attractive, but now it is also giving us the results. We are having this electronic media, and later on the Swayamprabha channels, they have also come up. Social media, it is also one way through which it is a digital intervention. Now you see the most of our activities, they are being run through social media. Advertisement, because our own advertisement budget, it has truncated to 10% only. Because the Facebook, the Twitters, and Instagram, along with the other modes we are reaching, because now we are having 7 lakh followers, that too in 2 years only. So the numbers through which we can reach, and you will get that much effective and repetitive contents, we can have it and repeat it to the people also at large. Capacity building, here I would like to share the national perspective. There were 66 HRDCs, 95 Madan Mohan Malviya training institutions, and then AICT Atal Academy and 4 NITers. And all these are having a total capacity of around 40,000 or so. But the country as a whole, we are having 15 lakh teachers. Sir is present over here. He is talking about crores, Capacity Building Commission, Subramaniam ji. And we have to see that how to reach with a large number of people. And for which we are having 2 or 3 interventions which I would like to share. One is that Samarth, Swayamprabha, and Swayam, Samarth, and Swayamprabha, all the 3 we integrated. And we wanted to have a NEP awareness program for teachers. How much cost it will be? Ministry has initially asked. I said that no cost will be involved because that digital infrastructure is available. And what we have done is, Swayam, we uploaded the e-content, the videos, and then we have also created discussion forum, 4-quadrant approach was there. And out of these 15 lakh teachers, we tried to reach to all corners of the country. We could get around 55,000 teachers. And 6-day program was there, online program. There were facilities for interaction also. You can raise the queries also. Discussion forum was there. And examination is also being conducted online. And you'll find that around 50% people, they cleared that examination because some of them, they wanted to know the things, they have not appeared in the examination because there are senior teachers, they don't want it. But it is an exercise through which we see that for any area, for capacity building, yes, we can do something. And doing something is that even for NEP implementation, look at any program also for that, you can go for it. Look at any pedagogical issue for which also you can have a program, and you will see artificial intelligence for that you can also develop any program, and you will find that by integrating these three digital interventions, Swayam, Swayam Prabha, and Samarth. Swayam is the material for which material is available. Samarth, registration takes place, and Swayam Prabha is the delivery mechanism. All the three we have used this in this process. We are having our own institute also. Then Sankalp, it is also one more initiative of the Ministry of Skilling, that also we have gone for it. And we have found that here the purpose is that the skill acquisition and knowledge awareness for livelihood promotion. The ministry wants that the people who want to enhance their livelihood, for that how the process is to be initiated. The program is to train the trainers. 400 districts and 4,000 trainers. They are the DM level people, and they have to train the people who are in that area. And the purpose is the contents are being put in such a way so that their capacity, it can further be enhanced. And that is at the training the trainers. The second initiative is now Dattopant Thengde National Board for Workers, Education and Development. It is for 30 crore people. And what they exactly want is not the digital mode only. They wanted to have a blended structure. They wanted some courses also. They wanted some basic literacy issues, and they wanted to see that how the upskilling, reskilling, and how we can enhance their potential capacity, those things they have been incorporated there, and the things are moving in the right direction. The purpose is to reach the organized and unorganized sectors in the country. The target is 30 crore people. That is the initiative going on right at this point of time. So what we want to say is that the capacity building for NEP, we are continuously doing it. And right now, the thing is that one more initiative which was being talked about is that can we have a Swayam course? And then we also brought a Swayam course of 2 credit on the Swayam portal. This is the capacity building for HE administrator and general practitioners on NEP. And here also we could get encouraging results. Around 5,000 people, they got themselves registered. So these are the instances which I intend to share with all of you. The purpose is that how we can integrate our digital interventions with the capacity development initiatives, because lots of areas where the capacity building initiatives they have to be carried on. And you see that most of these interventions for which we all can add significantly. This is all which I intend to share with all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So it's very refreshing to note that we have all the infra, Swayam, Swayam Prabha, virtual labs, National Digital Library, social media, ABSS, Samarth, which takes from registration to Alumni Connect, and we have DigiLocker and blockchain-based degree certificates. And we have infrastructure to translate from any language to any other language. I think we have everything in place, but how we put all these things together and make it more effective. Thank you very much, sir, for giving us a very elaborate picture. Now, we'll just go to the industry part. Let me invite Raghav to make his presentation on what's the industry perspectives. Again, infra adoption guidelines.
Namaskar. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful to be here to listen to what Professor Rao shared. Clearly, there's lots and lots of progress that's happening. I'll present a little bit of what's happening on the Coursera platform, what's happened so far, and what we are thinking about will happen in the future, specifically within India. And before I get started, I'm not sure if people at the back can see the slides, so if you want to stand up, please feel free to do that. I will, in any case, give out the key messages. Also, I want to ask with a quick show of hands, are you familiar with the Coursera platform? Okay, that's pretty good. And do you think Coursera is free MOOCs? Or do you know Coursera to be something more than free MOOCs? So if you know Coursera as free MOOCs, put your hand up. Okay, so maybe I'll share a little bit more which might be of interest. I know many of you are familiar with Coursera. So this is a little bit of what is already known. Coursera started in Stanford in 2012. Today there are 185 universities around the world that create content. These are top universities. These are Michigan, Imperial, London College, and so on and so forth. What is not visible, but I'll call it out, till 2 years ago, there were 2 universities in India that were creating content on Coursera. ISB started many, many years ago, and then IIM Calcutta. There were only 2 top Indian universities that were creating content on the Coursera platform. What might be known a little bit lesser is companies create content on Coursera as well. And as a part of NEP's big push on industry-academia collaboration, we've been working on this very, very actively. 115 companies create content on the Coursera platform. And you'll see Google, you'll see Microsoft, you'll see IBM, you'll see Salesforce, you will see Meta, Facebook, and so on and so forth. And in today's world where technology is changing so fast, where AI is now in everybody's pocket, to learn the skills that these companies are creating is extremely important. And I'll talk a little bit about what these companies are doing on the Coursera platform as well. Now, I'm not sure if I got a full answer to my question. Coursera started as MOOCs in 2012, massive open online courses. But it's a fairly comprehensive catalog today. And there's merit in spending just a minute on this. So firstly, about 6 months ago, we created something called clips. These are 5-10 minute videos. If you just want to get introduced to a topic, right? You're building an Excel sheet model, you forgot pivot tables, 10 minute mein aapko refresher chahiye. You can come and learn from Macquarie University what are pivot tables. So clips, right? 5 to 10 minute courses. Faculty are using these for blended learning in their program in campuses in the country today. Second, hands-on learning, right? You want to work in data analysis, aapko Tableau aana chahiye, Power BI aana chahiye. You're working in artificial intelligence, you should understand some tools. You want to work in digital marketing, you should know how to run search engine optimization, you should know tools like Canva, so on and so forth, guided projects. 1 to 2 hours, you can learn a digital tool without buying the software for that digital tool. And there are 3,500 of these. Courses, of course, this is where Coursera started. There are many of these available now. Specializations, which is what we call specializations, but these are typically 3-credit courses. These are 45-hour courses, typically your 3-credit courses. Many campuses are integrating these under the National Credit Framework as a part of standalone credits as well. Also certificates, the companies that I was talking about, 115 companies, we are seeing a massive trend around the theme of industry micro-credentials, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. And very interestingly, 50 fully online degrees from these top 185 universities are available on the Coursera platform. You can be somebody who lives in Dehradun and study public health from Imperial College London while you're living in Dehradun without having to incur the cost of going to London as well. And I'll talk a little bit about what's happening within India as well. Now, all of this is a platform that is serving a learning ecosystem globally as well as in India. And we think about this as a 3-dimensional platform. So learners, right? All of you, myself, we can come to Coursera's website and we can take many of these courses. I'm sure many of you have done that as well. 13 crore people do that globally. And about 2 crore people do this in India. I spoke a little bit about educators, companies as well as industry. But also what's important is we are realizing that learning happens through institutions. All of us have grown up learning either in schools or colleges, and today a lot of learning is happening in companies as well as a part of upskilling, reskilling platforms. And so we have a platform which is meant for businesses, which is meant for governments, and which is meant for campuses. And I'll focus a little bit on Coursera for Campus. I was saying to Professor Subramaniam earlier that, as a part of the government's reskilling initiatives, Coursera for Government is going to be quite important for us to talk about later as well. Now, I mentioned crores of people come to Coursera in India. So let's take a little bit look at that. And the reason these people are coming to Coursera in India is because, firstly, the content is high quality, right? You come to learn and you get goosebumps because you're enjoying the learning process itself. It is career-oriented. Aapko malum hai, if I do this data science course from X university, it is going to help your career. And then thirdly, the credential matters. It is coming from a top institution or it is coming from a top university. Of these 13 crore people around the world, 2.1 crore, 21 million are in India. And India will have more learners on Coursera than all of Europe by later this year. And a lot of this is happening because of what the NEP has enabled, what the National Credit Framework has enabled. This is continuing to grow quite significantly. 2.1 crore people come to the platform. And we've seen a lot of adoption during COVID as one would expect. So you'll see in 2019, there were roughly about 50 lakh people coming to Coursera. And like I've just said, there are now 2.1 crore people coming to Coursera, 4x, right? Even after COVID, this growth has continued. But what's more interesting is that the number of enrollments is growing more than the number of learners on the platform. What it means is that each person is taking more and more courses, and that has grown 5x. 51 million expected this year, 5 crore. And we just heard on Swayam, there have been 3.5 crore enrollments in the country as well. So these are two pillars at similar scale, large-scale platforms that are delivering high-quality learning from top institutions that we are seeing. Professor Kamakoti asked us to talk a little bit about what innovation is happening in pedagogy. And we are seeing the impact of generative AI and ChatGPT. I would have loved to show this in a lot more detail, but in the interest of time, I'll just introduce it, that we've integrated ChatGPT into Coursera for learners, right? If you're a learner who's taking a course on the Coursera platform, that learning experience will become interactive. There will be somebody 24/7 who's able to answer your questions. It'll become personalized. So personalization at hyperscale, at the scale of 13 crore people, the questions I might ask versus a question that you might ask when you're taking that course on data science will be different. And also, unlike ChatGPT, which goes and sometimes come back with incorrect answers, we are limiting ChatGPT to expert content on the Coursera platform so that the answers that you get are grounded in expert content and you will get correct answers. But this is just like a teaser. Maybe later we'll talk a little bit more about it. But Coursera Coach is now actively rolling out to many of learners on our platform, which is going to take online learning to the next level. We are actually thinking about this as Coursera 2.0. 1.0 was 2012, and now this is Coursera 2.0. Let me move the conversation to what educators are doing and what kind of content and credentials are they creating in the country, because I spoke a little bit about what's happening outside so far. Over the last 2 years, my colleagues, some of them are here, Tapesh, Pradeep, Nishtha, my colleagues and I have been working actively on getting top institutions in the country to start creating content. 17 universities are now authoring content on the Coursera platform. IIM Ahmedabad, IIT Roorkee, IIT Bombay, Ashoka University, IISc, ISI, many of these institutions are now on the Coursera platform. I was talking to Professor Kamakoti earlier. What's conspicuous by absence is IIT Madras, which we hope to change hopefully soon, sir. But this has been incredible work. This is also actively capacity building. How do you build global quality content with top faculty from the country? And then not just take this to learners within the country, but also put it up on a global scale as well. And also, I spoke about companies, and Indian companies are authoring content on the Coursera platform. You want to work in direct tax, get a certificate from PwC. You want to work in indirect tax, get a certificate from PwC. Fabine is here from L&T EduTech. You want to learn engineering, come and take it from L&T via the Coursera platform. So this is actively happening. And this is very initial because we started this, like I said, over the last 2 years, and it's progressing well. Now, I mentioned earlier there are 50 online degrees on the Coursera platform. Globally, about 20,000 students are taking online degrees on Coursera. And I say online degrees on Coursera because it's these universities who are offering these degrees. It's the faculty from the university who teaches. It's not, Coursera doesn't have faculty. And 9 of these are now in India. It's increasing very, very quickly. Let me give you a little bit of a quick sample of what some of this looks like. So IIT Roorkee has an executive MBA. SB Jain has also announced a postgraduate diploma. Pradeep is here. He's been working on that very actively. It's impossible to get into ISI, but now you can come and do a postgraduate diploma in applied stats on Coursera from ISI. I think you get like 100 seats if you go to campus at ISI. IIM Ahmedabad, and I know Professor Bhaskar is here, the director of IIM Ahmedabad, has 2 certificates, decision-making using game theory and elephants and cheetahs, one of their most popular courses on operation strategy on Coursera. What's not listed here is a leadership course which Professor Vishal Gupta teaches at IIM Ahmedabad, which is now on Coursera. It is grounded in philosophy of the Mahabharata, and it has 1.35 lakh enrollments in 2 months. And that's the kind of response that we are seeing from some of this content. Inspired by what IIT Madras did 4 years ago, we now have a Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science from BITS Pilani. If my numbers are correct, 2 lakh people take the BITSAT entrance exam, only a few thousand get in. We are saying, how do we open that up? How do we open up access to many, many more people? And then 2 weeks ago, IIT Guwahati announced a bachelor's with honors in science and data science, data science and AI on the Coursera platform. There are close to 4 lakh jobs in AI and data science that are available in the country. These are high-paying jobs. If you have children at home who are college going, these are the areas you should be recommending to them to study for, as opposed to traditional areas where there isn't growth happening. I'm a mechanical engineer by education, but my son is not studying mechanical engineering because there are just not enough jobs if you're studying traditional mechanical engineering, because industry has changed very, very rapidly. The bachelor's in data science and AI, if you've finished class 12, as long as you had maths, you're eligible to apply for that program. If you've got registered for IIT Advanced, you get automatic admission to that program. And this is flexible, fully compliant with NEP, flexible exit and options. You can do a 4-year honors in 8 years if you cannot complete it in 4 years. And it's incredible that a lot of this content is now being used by learners within the country, but also it is going to learners outside the country. So these 16 institutions have created content which has gone to above 8 lakh people outside India. They've taken 10 lakh courses, and this has happened across 190 countries, and I think it's enabling the vision of Bharat as Vishwaguru. I really do think this deserves a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Now, for educators, as a part of pedagogy, right, and Professor Kamakoti asked this question, we are enabling the power of ChatGPT to say, when you author content, create curricula, how do you leverage the power of generative AI? And again, I will not show it, but we are launching something called Course Builder, where faculty will have the power of 20 teaching assistants, 50 teaching assistants to say, how do you create high quality content? And also, how do you make this content a lot more engaging with VR and augmented reality technologies? I'm sorry, I'm just giving a teaser here, but maybe we can continue the conversation later. Okay, so the third part of it, institutions, I'll only focus on campuses. Let me take a quick example. So today, a BTech in computer science, it's 8 semesters, as we know. Here are examples of 4 semesters. There are lots of core subjects. Now, many institutions in the country are saying, look, instead of just a BTech in computer science, I want to make this with a specialization in AI and machine learning, right? You may not have the faculty for topics like AI and machine learning. And so we are saying, why don't you use a credit course from IBM to introduce AI, right? Why don't you use major AI applications from Google? These are incredible companies. They teach incredibly high quality material. And Duke University is teaching machine learning on the Coursera platform, right? NEP, National Credit Framework, allows you to use this content for credit as well, right? And also what faculty are doing is they're saying, now to blend content in, I'm teaching electronic system design. Georgia Tech teaches electronic system design. Why don't I blend this into my curricula so that I can bring the best of my own teaching plus other universities into the program as well? And then similarly, data foundations from UC San Diego as well. So we are seeing a lot of blended courses which are being integrated by faculty. We are also seeing what we are calling standalone electives, so you can take a full 3-credit, 4-credit course on Coursera. And this is how we are seeing a lot of universities and colleges are building powerful curricula. It is, of course, happening because NEP and the National Credit Framework enable this, which is why I spoke about the broader growth of how we are seeing Coursera's adoption in the country as well. The other thing which I think is helpful to call out, and I have just 2 slides and I'll close with that, is industry micro-credentials is a massive trend that we are seeing globally on the Coursera platform. Along with learning on campuses, to build skills of today, to build skills of the future, and the Prime Minister spoke about jobs of the future as well, is very, very important to think about what industry is teaching as well. So industry as an educator and industry-academia linkages are very important. One-off collaborations are good, but often enough they are not sustainable. You know, you sign an MOU, you conduct 2 guest lectures, and it whittles out. What these companies have done over the last 4 years since we started working on this is they've created these industry micro-credentials. You can come and learn Android development from Meta, Facebook. How does Facebook do an Android developer? You can come and learn social media marketing from Facebook, right? And we are seeing massive adoption of this across the country. Last year, I think in India, we saw some 9 lakh people take these courses. Apologies, it's taking me back. And so I'll summarize now. With everything that I've covered so far, over the last 3 years, we've seen about 1,000 campuses adopt Coursera for Campus in the country. I've emphasized on NEP and National Credit Framework. Campuses are doing this as standalone electives. Campuses are doing this as blended learning. We are seeing a lot of multidisciplinary happening. We are seeing industry micro-credentials being adopted as well. Now, 1,100 campuses is a large number, but there are 50,000 campuses in the country. So we have a long way to go before a lot of this can become relevant for every student in the country. And then on the other side, working with the government for upskilling of government employees, but also working with corporates for upskilling of working professionals, teachers, all of that is where Coursera for Business comes in. I'll close with that and hopefully continue the conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raghav. So we say, take a look, short clip, projects, explore a topic, learn a tool, advance a skill, get a job, earn a degree. So it's a very nice pyramid that you have put. Thank you very much, and very exciting to see that you're going to bring in ChatGPT and generative AI to basically enable course building by the faculty. And industry as educators is also very important. Thank you for touching all these points. Now we again come back to the major necessity of our, for our country, the capacity building, and we have the Professor Bala to give his views on what are the challenges that he is going to face, specifically in this ever-changing constant called technology.
For a while listening to Professor Rao and then Raghav, I felt an odd man out. Being in government, or being an outsider to government and now being part of the government, it's sort of, I was just looking at the title, Digital Empowerment and Capacity Building. I think for us in government, that and is not there. You know, a generation of young people who have grown on cell phones and iPads and digital learning, possibly learning leading to capacity building is a logical outcome. But in the government, I have 60-year-olds, sometimes much more than 60, to people like me somewhere in between, which dabbles in the academic space also, and then to a young 22-year-old like Gaurav and others who join us, and then a range of people for whom digital and understanding digital world is complete. But on the other end of the spectrum, I have people who have absolutely no idea of technology at all. And building we have to actually build their capacities to understand digital first. And then hope the digital help build these capacities for them. So that's the biggest challenge we found, and you'll be surprised that the most popular courses for us, and we are privileged to have the world's largest LMS, Karmayogi Bharat. And our learners, I think India will possibly definitely be a Vishwaguru because we are bringing about a silent revolution in public administration, which no other countries attempted at the scale at which we are talking. We only have 40 million learners to worry about, and we are not looking at them as learners because we don't really, for us learning is useless if it is actually not built capacity to deliver on something. Learning for a degree is a very easy prompt, but learning which actually leads to capacity building and measuring capacity that has grown in them is something we are struggling with. And so I'll just go back to Professor Kamakoti's 3 domains and then talk about it. Our mandate was very simple in Mission Karmayogi from the Prime Minister. In his articulation, there are just 3 sentences, but deconstructing them and using digitalized processes to lead to that has been a great journey for me, at least personally. The first is a very simplistic statement. He said, "In logon ko karmachari bhav se karmayogi banna chahiye." No, it's a very, very easy statement. How do you actually get a person who believes his job is to deliver to a salary? Even that is a great thing to happen in the government system. to suddenly transform himself behaviorally and enabling that behavioral change overnight in everybody of them. Like I said, Government of India alone, we have 20 million people to enable change immediately. And if we were to deconstruct it further down, eliminate all the big ones like public sector undertakings, public sector banks, etc., the struggle I have as member HR is who makes the highest impact, the 80-20 ratio, and we got 3.2 million people to worry about. And if we further zero it down, 75 years of capacity building of this country has focused only on Group A officers, without understanding that Group A, Group B, Group C together is what matters to the nation. And so deconstructing all this took a while for us. But the point I'm trying to make is how do you actually fundamentally use a behavioral change in a measurable way, enable it through a digital course? And that's a struggle, and we have been reasonably successful in that. So that is the first aspect of it. The second aspect, again, very difficult to measure for us, is how do you shift behaviors of public servants from a rule-based approach to a role that you understand. So for that, you've got to define role, and you must understand the context in which I operate. We don't have a job description for most government officials. We don't even know what they're supposed to do. And then we are supposed to measure their performance. So the normative understanding of what capacity is going to get built for and what are they supposed to end up doing itself is something we're discovering. So we had to actually start off with the preliminary process called, we don't like the word, but it's a nice acronym, fracking. We had to understand their functions, the roles they play. A section officer, what is his role in government? A section officer in the Ministry of Agriculture and a section officer in Ministry of Health, what is his role? And trying to deconstruct all this, so the role they play, and in the role, what are the functions they have? Because for us, learning using digital platforms should lead to this. And then in those functions, what are the set of activities it does? And you must understand government operates in silos. And for us, digital empowerment means de-siloization also. And it's very funny, and I'm sure we have colleagues here, one joint secretary only has a wall between them, but he will not walk to the next joint secretary's room. And how do you break this? Can we use technology in digital spaces to break it? It's something for us, capacity building is not just learning. State capacity building is a complex set of things that we roll out, from HR audit to understanding human behavior to time motion study to learning. And then all this leading to a specific deliverable that the Prime Minister wants of citizen-centric delivery of goods and services. And so for us, learning leading to capacity, capacity leading to better governmental outcomes, actually measurable in terms of citizen outcomes. That's a long curve. Now, we can do proctored assessments, but you can only assess what they've learned on the platform. But what they've learned on the platform, how much of capacity is it resulted in, and therefore what kind of outcomes on the citizens is something that we're struggling with, and we're hoping that we'll have a lot of that in the coming days to happen. And amidst all this, Atmanirbhar. As much as I'm tempted to look at a Stanford or a Harvard, I would like an IIT or an IIM to deliver the course for us. And so that is the reality in which we operate. And so today we have a learning management system, which is not just a platform which enables learning and teaching for us. So the hardware, the architecture for us is consist of 6 hubs. There's a learning hub. If a government employee, if I were to go to the hub and just put my name, my employee ID, and say, I'm a member of the Capacity Building Commission, and I'm a member HR, the algorithm will tell me to play my role effectively, what are the 30 competencies I need? So our learning is actually micromanaged. And we start at that level of micromanagement. Everybody across this 3 point, every single ministry of Government of India in the last 1 year, we have completed what is called a capacity building plan. We are building capacity and therefore enabling learning to lead to specifically 5 outcomes in the short term and much larger in the long term. In the long term, we have very good clarity because the Prime Minister has said Amrit Kal. So in 25 years, where is this country going to go towards? And therefore, what is the kind of capacities we need for the administrators to lead us there? In the short term, we have very simplistically 5 filters. And so everything we filter, whether it's we look at courses on Swayam portal or we look at courses on Coursera or Harvard edX or on our own courses that we generate for ourselves, are only 5 things. Every ministry, every official has only got 5 mandates. First is, how does my ministry contribute to a $5 trillion inclusive economy? And in that alignment, what should I learn and do? And based on the level, section officer will learn something, a secretary will learn something else. So everybody has to learn. We have even set standards. And once the cabinet clears it, an officer cannot be in a position if he's not competent to be there. So all postings, promotions, everything will be linked to competency building, and therefore the incentive to learn is going to be just performance. So three mandates: performance, governance, and accountability is going to determine. And how do you get an adult to do all this? How do you get somebody to learn when for 75 years mediocrity survived? How do you get them to understand excellence is something which has to originate from the desire to learn. And so the third mandate Prime Minister gave for Mission Karmayogi is build a future-ready bureaucracy, and for that they have to engage in lifelong learning. And so to us, it's not about teaching our people how to do work, but it is telling our people, it's not about learning how to work. We are telling them that your only work is to keep learning. And that's a major shift in government. And how do we use digitalization for that is being a great challenge for us. And the proof of the pudding is, I'm sure, and Raghav and others will know, and I'm not sure my data is current, but the people take courses. Yes, there are 2 crore people, 3 crore people who take courses. But how many people actually complete those courses? And after completion, how many of them actually learned? And after learning, how many of them actually transformed themselves? After transforming themselves, how many of them have demonstrated the transformation to citizen impact? And that's the beauty of the job I do. It's very intellectually fascinating because we try to capture, and you'll always be surprised, government is damn good at it now. We're trying to make it better and better. We actually measure and map performance and correlate it through a lot of things that we're running to see whether the growth in capacity is actually leading to better performance of ministries. And next year we'll be publishing our reports on all this. So it's not easy for us to demonstrate it because in maybe Coursera, edX, etc., 6% of conversion, I'm not sure. There is stickiness of the whole thing. But in government, it is 90%. So maybe it's a novelty of the platform. 100 people take the course, and in 9 months, 18 lakh people have actually taken courses and different kinds of courses. And that's a beautiful structure of government because we have numbers, and none of them are inspired. I've had PSB Bank watchmen do 179 courses. Now you can ask me why he did it. It is just his joy of learning. From that to, we have forced people to do courses. So we have extremes of all kinds of people. We have truly democratized learning. So for us, this whole process of understanding digital transformation is a comprehensive space where we can actually measure and map all this in a single platform. The data emits of Karmayogi Bharat comes to me, and so I know exactly what you're looking at. We have 6 hubs which helps us do this. It's not just learning. So I go put my name, it will tell me I need these 20 competencies, and then I have a competency hub where I actually have to take proctored assessments and show myself what are the competencies I already have. So learning happens only for what you don't have. And you have a pressure to have. And so we actually work on the principles of 70-20-10, where we believe all our course design has to be, 70% has to be experiential, it has to mean something to the guy taking the course. 20% he should be able to work in spaces where he can, of cohorts, where they can talk to each other. You know, we have a stage where in our country we have batchmate cultures. The first question they'll ask 2 officers meet together, Aapka batch kaun sa batch hai? 2002 batch. Oh, 2002. So I know I have 2 minutes more. Okay. I'm keeping track of 10 minutes. I just finished 10. I'll just quickly end it. The joy of talking about government after having criticized them for 40 years and now being part of it will possibly entitles me to 3-4 more minutes. So we have these 6 hubs: the learning hub, the competency hub, the discussion hub where this relational learning happens. 20% we expect it to be relational learning, and for us only 10% is informational learning. And it has to matter to something on the job. So we only measure all our courses by 3 elements. Can I relate to the course I'm taking? If I'm doing a negotiation course, can I even relate to negotiation? Is it even important to me? Is it relevant to me, to the job I do? And after taking the course, can I apply it tomorrow morning? Tomorrow morning, if I have to face a situation where I have to negotiate with another ministry or negotiate 2 more minutes from Professor Kamakoti, can I actually do it? Can I learn negotiation to actually apply it? So these are some simple things. So for the platform for us, what are we looking at, and I'll end it there, is we're shifting the paradigm. A generation of people in the government who have actually used to individual hierarchical learning That's all they've known. In a classroom, a teacher talks and you sit like this and you listen. This is individual hierarchical exchange of transaction of information. We are shifting it to now a space where there is going to be collective distributed learning. We're creating relational platforms, we're creating distribution of learning where everybody can come on the discussion hub in IGOT and discuss stuff. We're trying to make spaces more transparent. So we want cost efficiency. We have millions. So if you want to go to Coursera or edX or any platform, I wouldn't want to pay $100. I can give you 1 million people. Can you give me a course at $1? Right? Because you earn much more than you can earn anywhere else. So we are looking at all these kind of opportunities, and why shouldn't we pay our own central training institutions? Government of India, when I took charge, I was told we have only 25 training institutions, from Labasas to police academies. Today, we have made a list of 1,100 training institutions. We are discovering new ones every day. So how do we get them to become the Courseras of the world? How do we get them to become the IITs and IIMs of the world? So cost efficiency, speed and scale, we want all 40 million people to be trained at the same time together. So anytime, any instrument, anywhere learning is our slogan. And we want them to do 15 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon. You don't have to spend time in a training institution. Constant upgradation of information, because future-ready bureaucracy means that. We want real-time analysis. So we want our portals and platforms and digital spaces to tell us on a real-time space, the user data, the course evaluation, which means all this data has to be within our country. So if Coursera is offering us courses, then we want to make sure the servers are within our country and our employee data doesn't go anywhere else. So there are a lot of challenges for us to protect and preserve. So we want contextual relevance. More importantly, we want cultural appropriateness. I don't want a course on negotiation talking about Boston housing programs. I wanted to talk about Dharavi slums. And so we really want material from India, and so I urge the audience here. I came here because I want to use this opportunity to, I know a lot of people from a lot of institutions are here. Help us transform Indian bureaucracy. Help us build that new India through a great team India. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Bala. I think we can keep hearing you for a day. There are so many things that we need to come. Mission Karma Yogi is a very, very important step that the government has taken. And digital empowerment has played a very crucial role and will play a crucial role. And let us assure from our institute side, we will support the Mission Karma Yogi with all Manasa Vacha Karmana. No. Right. So let me just go into Fevint now to give her perspective from the edutech point of view, specifically the role of industry in digital empowerment and capacity.
I do have a presentation. Okay. Thank you. This is my message. Good morning. First of all, it's really overwhelming to be here amidst, listening to so many things. Especially, I want to thank Professor Kamakoti for actually giving me this opportunity, because I believe that we are all here all of us would have attended a lot of panels, but I think we're all not here just to talk and go away. The start of the panel itself was with some action points, right? So I'm really personally hoping that we will come out with some outcomes and which we will take forward and see the difference, what this panel has actually brought about. And I think there are honest conversations happening, which really touches us as Indians, right? So first of all, I know that everybody asked questions also, so I just want to ask, all of you know L&T, right? Okay, who doesn't know L&T? So you must be wondering what I'm doing here. I was introduced as a civil engineer, so coming very proud to be from a core engineering domain, first of all. And Larsen & Toubro, as you know, is building the country. We are known as builder of the nation. Wherever you go, whichever walk of life it is. We transformed ourselves from 1938. So we are more than 80 years in the country, and I want to answer Sir's question that you need industries who will really look at building the country as well as the talent, the young people coming out of the institutions of this country. So having said that, and we are, internally we also lightly say that we are called learning and training, okay? Anybody joins L&T, I mean, we go through a lot of programs, learning, training. We have skill development centers that all of you know about. I'm not here to really talk about L&T, but why this L&T EduTech was basically, we found that a student who comes into an industry, you know, almost about 500 to 600 hours of, you know, he or she has to spend the time to really become industry ready, right? So can we do something to shorten that gap, right? Can I give some 200 hours of practical stuff that we do in the industry? Can I show each of the student while they are in the campus something that the industry really does? And we believe that the educational institutions, you know, the fundamentals and concepts that are given by the educational institutions are the best and the strongest. But we actually wanted to reinforce something that is done in the institutions. And I know I'm talking in the digital empowerment and capacity building, so what L&T did was to digitize our experience. L&T is a company which is the first in the digital transformation. You might think what a construction person is doing in EduTech, right? But I want to tell you that a civil engineer is not a brick and mortar person anymore. They are into digital space, right? They are into, it's like a engineering with data science or artificial intelligence. I myself, all my projects are in AR, VR. I can walk through my projects even before I get in. An electrical engineer, a mechanical engineer, you know, it's just not that it is something which is away from IT and all the things that we are talking about, right? We got a lot of things. I was really looking at a lot of things that were shown, data science, blockchain, AI, AR, VR, right? All those are part of an engineering graduate's study, whichever area he or she is. So I think that is where our country should move and not differentiate these digital jargons and tools away from the domain expertise of engineering, because we have to build our country, right? We have to build infrastructure. We are all sitting in this nice room and talking, but there were engineers who did this. We should give them an upliftment. That's what is my first request, since I think a lot of decision makers are here, and I think that's something that we need to do. We need to sensitize parents and students that all engineering are equal, and there should be equal weightage given to all branches of engineering. Not because I'm a civil engineer, but we ourselves feel we are not getting quality engineers. L&T itself is ready to take about 5,000 core engineers every year. We are building projects like the high-speed rail, right? I used to say when I joined L&T 30 years back, it was like 1 crore, 2 crore projects where something I draw on the drawing board and then I, you know, go change it, rework. Today it's not that. I do everything on 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, 7Ds. It means dimensions, space, cost, scheduling, everything I can do on digital platform. All the projects can be done. For that, I don't need only civil engineering. I need a multidisciplinary engineering. We are all talking multidisciplinary. All forums we are talking. What is multidisciplinary really? What is it really? So it is basically, if I talk about one particular engineering graduate, say I will again start with an architect or a civil engineer, he or she needs to know what electrical inputs are required, what mechanical is required. If it is taught in that sense, right, a lot of rework, a lot of savings to the government projects, and a lot of time will be saved. So that is real multidisciplinary as far as the industry is concerned. So I'm standing as an industry person as well as somebody who is now trying to get into the education space from the industry. So I think I had a lot of answers to Sir's questions as well. I'm not going into all these because I think I just want to say I did not bring any presentation on what we are, but just wanted to take 1 minute to just say that L&T EduTech, basically, as I said, we wanted to bridge the gap. And what we have done is we have about 135,000 modules created, okay, in all domains of engineering: civil, electrical, mechanical, electronics, computer science, and chemical as well. What we have done is we are not getting into concepts. We may probably say the prerequisite. We get into our own project sites, an airport site. We have the largest manufacturing unit for mechanical engineers. We go and show them what we are doing. What is automation? How are you automatically welding? How is one welder sitting in an AC cabin and doing 3 objects? These kind of things, that's really in the industry. It is not known. So these are the things that we are bringing in a online platform model. I think that is not known still. We are still new, I would say. So it's something that is a good platform for me to say this. And we have started partnering with institutions, including IIT Madras. We have signed an MOU with AICTE as well. We have partnered with about 50 institutions across the country. We really want this to reach to all the engineering, and we are coming up with some arts and science in the sense of humanities space. Again, not like policy making, it's more on what an accountant will do, how will a student help in the business transformations. These are the things that we are actually doing it. And only thing is the content what we create is from our experts. Our industry people who are there in the company for more than 25 years, they give the content, they give their experience out, and it's an opportunity for the students to interact with them. On the platform, we have live 24/7 where students can ask and interact with industry experts. I want to just touch upon what Professor Kamakoti have been talking about. I think some of it I really talked already. The value add for upskilling. So I talked about that we need to get into this multidisciplinary and core engineering space. Lot of industry touch points. Like what we also do is some of the students, see, as sir was saying, there are a lot of programs, right? What is the completion rate? How is it reaching the students? So we want students to earn this. We want to make them really go through this so that the best students can be taken to some of the industries. Like for example, if you see L&T, we have mapped all our 1,000+ project sites and manufacturing facilities across the country to all the institutions in the country. I have not partnered with everybody. But if anybody comes in my way, I know that the children can be taken to one of my facility, which is less than 100 kilometers. I don't want them to travel all the way from probably, Jaipur to Chennai. We are not looking at that. But I have mapped it in such a way that anybody who is interested to come and learn with L&T EduTech, I give them that opportunity. So that's what we have done. Change in pedagogy, I think we discussed. I only want the last one, sir, the guidelines and the support. We are talking about 40% online, but I think the academicians are also restricted, and at least in my conversations, the AICTE and UGC guidelines are very much there. I think our country is, going very much forward in all this. But when you say 40% online, I think it is limited to probably SWAYAM and NPTEL as also. I don't know whether we can open it out to some of the industry relevant content as well. This is probably one thing that I would like to say. And we're hearing about a lot of portals. There is SWAYAM, there is, a lot of portals. Can we have a student who is just 18 years old? How do we, I'm just looking at a student because, they are tomorrow, yesterday, like how our Honorable Prime Minister said, they are going to lead this nation and they're going to build this nation. So how do we, and they're very smart in terms of in the digital space, so can we have one place where he or she gets to know everything? Whenever I attend such forums, I learn a lot. There is this platform, okay, there is that platform, and so many platforms. But can we integrate all of it? I do not know who can do it, but can we do it so that as a normal person, as a normal citizen of the country, can I come to know everything? But because so much work is being done by the government, and I don't think really that it has reached the students or even the common man totally. When we attend such conferences, we are all lucky and we are able to understand, but otherwise I don't think we are really knowing this. And again, for me, it is promoting the real domain expertise and core engineering space. Can we look at our kids really looking at that? And we don't, tomorrow nothing happens when we build something. we need quality engineers. Can we excite them to also learn domain engineering? With that, thank you, sir, and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Fabin, for just emphasizing the point that core engineering is very important for the country, and that digital empowerment is also an important ingredient for one in the core engineering domain. I'll also take this opportunity to invite Mr. Govind Jaiswal, Joint Secretary here, on Technology-Enabled Learning Division of the Ministry. Welcome, sir, to this. So we just proceed to Shankar, Ekstep, to basically give his view. And Ekstep, one of the interesting things that we are doing with IIT Madras is on the large language models. And I'm sure you're going to touch a bit on that. Welcome, Shankar.
Thank you, Professor Kamkoti. Very illuminating set of conversations. The title of my talk is Innovation Without Boundaries. We heard a lot of wonderful presentations, a lot of wonderful innovation. But what's the fundamental problem we are facing? Our children are not learning, and I'm talking about foundational learning. The National Education Policy calls that out, that unless we solve the problem of foundational literacy, the rest of it does not matter. While we are talking about digital capacity building and empowerment, the root has to be treated first. And why is that the case? I want to go into the details of that, but the good news is that the policy, NEP recognizes it. There's Nipun Bharat, a lot of efforts happening the last 3 years, and we are off to a good start there. And we are, as a society, rapidly moving from a society that needs to know to a society that needs to learn how to learn. What you know now does not matter, because by tomorrow it will be redundant. What is more important is whether you have learned how to learn or not. So what's the problem if you have low learning outcomes? It's the scale, complexity, and diversity of India. 260 million learners in schools, 26 crore. Another 25 crores in various stages of scaling up to the age of 25. Then you have professionals who also need to learn. Take all the numbers we've discussed, it is still a drop in the ocean compared to the size of the problem. There is another problem with the scale. Boundaries. There are administrative boundaries. There are boundaries of domain, school education, higher education, medical education, government training, farmer learning, etc. Each is a bounded domain. And since we're a federal country, even in education, there are 61 boards of education, each autonomous. Each can decide what they want to do. So in a situation like this, when there, of course, as Professor Kamakoti talked about, we have another set of divides, which is language. When you have all of this, it's no surprise that innovation is constrained, that innovation exists in islands of, innovation exists in silos in a vast ocean. Can we do something about it? Or are we cursed to keep every island repeating the same thing again and again and again? How many here have Aadhaar? Raise your hand. How many here have Aadhaar, the 12-digit number? Okay, I'm assuming everybody. I had the honor and the privilege of being part of the startup team and of naming it Aadhaar. It's the first identity without any boundaries in India. It does not matter, because before that we had a PAN card and a passport and this and that. Each was bounded by a department, or a state gave you an ID, or a panchayat gave you an ID, right? So as the group that was part of it, when we started Ekstep Foundation in 2015, Andan Nilekani, Rohini Nilekani, some others and I, the question we asked was, can we make innovation boundaryless? Can we have innovation go beyond boundaries? Because our problems as a country are huge. And as a philanthropic startup that is doing everything from its own funds with no revenue, we had a unique ability to do things which would benefit the whole country. We focused on education in 2015. school education, that itself was a big problem of 260 million. 22 languages, 60 boards of education, 9.5 million teachers, 15 lakh schools. Then we asked ourselves, how would innovation without boundary work here? The resultant discussions led us to partner with Minister of Education, Gaurav is here, and with other states, and we helped to create Diksha, which later on went on to become India's national platform for school education. It's the world's largest platform for school education. There's a lot of data, 61 billion minutes of learning, 137 million teacher credentials which are verifiable, and 300,000 plus contents in 34 languages. There's a lot of statistics, but that's not the point. The point is, in 2019, August, we were meeting with Prime Minister Modi, and he asked Nandan, आपने ये दीक्षा बनाने में मदद किया, सिविल सर्वेंट्स के लिए भी कैसा कुछ मदद कर सकते हैं क्या? And that's where the power of innovation without boundaries came in. Because what as Extra Foundation we had done was not create Diksha, we had created Sunbird, an underlying set of building blocks. They're like the ingredients in the kitchen, digital building blocks. Because we created it from our philanthropic capital, it was free to use. We then helped the government of India to create Diksha. And Diksha itself had lots of ecosystem players coming in to create all the content, to create all the courses, because that's the nature of education. And then we had DOPT, and then Mission Karmayogi, and there's an entire ecosystem that came, took Sunbird, built I Got on top, and created their own massive platform. As Balu said, it's the world's largest LMS for capacity building of government officers, and it's just the beginning, right? Next year. So, and likewise, there are similar efforts in agriculture for farmer learning. Agriculture Ministry is doing it. The point of it, this is that for a problem as large as any of this, education, capacity building of government officers, agriculture, health workers, a digital public infrastructure approach that India has followed allows innovation to go beyond boundaries. And what is digital public infrastructure? And this is mentioned in the National Education Policy. It is anything where one solution can be used by multiple people, by multiple platforms and solutions. It is a road is infrastructure, a port is infrastructure, a mobile telephony, towers are infrastructure, Aadhaar is also infrastructure because others can use it. You would have used Aadhaar to get a bank account, to get a mobile phone connection, for various other things, right? So the power of a building block, the power of a brick, a digital brick, allows others to innovate on top. And who are these others? Existing ecosystems who will incorporate the technology into what they're doing, right? Technology has to fit into existing ecosystems. Ecosystems will not fit into technology. We will not get adoption like that. And so in the age of AI, one of the big problems as Extra Foundation we're thinking of solving is how do you solve the language divide? And that's where we again funded a wonderful group from Professor Kamakoti's IIT Madras, AI for Bharat, who have been building digital public goods, open source data, open source model, and now many other sectors within India are using it. Across agriculture, across law and justice, education, of course, and videos are being subtitled in the local language, lots of users there. So the point there is, as India, there was a time when the rest of the world would look down at us in technology, 40, 50 years ago. Then a time came 10, 20 years ago when they started looking at us. In 2023, we are at a stage where the world is looking up to India. Looking up to India to see how we will use technology, how we will innovate to solve for innovation and inclusion. And so in closing out, coming back to the three things that Professor talked about, infrastructure, we have already lots. Two things, can we create AI-based infrastructure? Can we have policies that facilitate the creation of AI-based infrastructure? We are off to a good start. This infrastructure is useless unless there is innovation that's being carried out and unless it is used by the people. So can we have policies that encourage innovative use of infrastructure? On adoption, I think there's a lot of good stuff happening. I don't want to go into that. Third is on guidelines. Again, can we have guidelines on content? What do we mean by good quality content? All of us are learning independently. Can we create some basic things that this is what makes content relevant, engaging, effective? It could differ from domain to domain, but here are certain common principles. The role of data. How do we share data? The power of iGot or Diksha is data is available. It allows the ecosystem to figure out what is working, what is not working, and do constant improvement. On the infrastructure specifically, sir, Indic fonts in digital, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and I think that's still a missing area for us. And yeah, so lastly, coming back to innovation without boundaries. Great innovation in silos, great policy. If you bring them together with digital infrastructure, we will get 1 + 1 = 11. If we don't do that, everybody will be innovating, everybody will be creating their own technology, it will end up in 1 + 1 = 2. As a country, we do not have time. The world is looking at us. We are on the verge of being a superpower, and we owe it to our own children and the rest of India, not just the rest of the world, to do this. I'm confident we can do this. Conversations like this are a great start, but it will need all of us to come together and help. Thank you.
Again, this session can go for a week. But tea is waiting, and the next session has to start. So we will restrict to 5 questions. And please be very specific on your question. So we don't want any reiteration of this topic. So 1, 2, Professor Pathak, 3, 2 more, 4, 5. Okay. Yes.
Sorry, sir. This is a wonderful session. I'm Professor.
Yeah, just question, please.
Yeah,
just.
Professor Chakravarti here from IIT Bombay. I run an open design school where we need to teach, show how cycling can be done. At the same time, they should learn how to cycle also. That's the challenge of design, where teaching online is a very big challenge. So my question is to Professor Bala. We are doing a lot of online teaching. Evaluation also is going on well. But the transformation, the learning outcomes, are they really implementing? How is it happening? Is a big challenge. So we want to know, how we can, do this effectively.
So, Professor Bala, specifically what he is asking is, post the learning, the completion is happening, the transformation is happening. Actually, you lined out a series of things. So, specifically on the transformation side. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll have to have 2 weeks for me to answer that.
In fact, that's why I was saying, I was telling Professor Kamakoti that we need to have a 1-week program in IIT Madras, and all of us are coming, sir.
I'll just try to quickly answer that. See, there are 3 different spaces in which learning is happening in our ecosystem. One is a completely digital space, a virtual space. One is a hybridized space where we are trying to move 2-3 days of informational learning comes from the digital space, and then the rest happens in the physical space, the brick and mortar kind of learning. And the third is completely brick and mortar. And each of these obviously have different ways of evaluation and monitoring. So what we have done is you cannot talk about eval design or impact assessment without talking of learning design. Evaluation design has to be embedded into the learning design, and therefore that's why it makes it so very challenging for us. So we look at 3-4 things. One is the immediate, the user experience as you take the learning course, right? As you're taking it. It happens in various spaces, and then we're looking at what kind of learning happens. That's all you can measure. How do you experience a learning platform? Or a room like this or a learning platform. It's all the same. The second is how much of cognitive change has actually happened. And that cannot happen in the course. Cognitive retention, it has to happen later. In government, because of the space and the compliance demands that we can make, we actually have to run a survey for that separately. And then we look at behavioral change because of my learning attainment. Did I really change behaviors either in my work or in my dealing with citizens? Now we are actually running perception surveys of before and after. We have actually done it. But because the learning design happened after cognitive ethnography that we did, observing people, and then went back and actually did it. Very little programs are doing it because it's expensive. And it's more for our own learning to understand how to embed all this. So it's a complete package. And you can decide for a course which is just PFMS or GEM. All you got to do is pick up your supervisor and say, is your director learned GEM, how to use GEM, or is using PFMS without any mistakes? What are the kind of errors that's happening? That doesn't impact citizens much, right? It's immediately measurable for us. But wherever citizen-centric delivery of goods and services, especially in the social sector, social protection programs are happening, that is making it expensive and complicated for us.
Thank you, sir.
Question that lady. Yes.
Hello.
It's not on. There. Yeah, just can you help her on the mic? Please. Yeah.
Hello. Hello. Bala sir, my question is to you.
Yeah. Professor Patu. Yeah, please go on.
So, like, many people get very overwhelmed because of the digital empowerment in education sector, such as using Diksha and many other portals. Can there be any training, offline training, and to tell how to use these portals? And can there be any employment and regarding the administration work, such as you told role definition of a person? So for a teacher, can there be any post in future we can see who can do administration work, such as using UDICE portal and filling data in UDICE portal that teachers do nowadays? So can we see other posts who can do that?
I must confess that's not an area of my expertise. I can't answer that question, but I can tell you how we are doing it within the government system. We don't directly work with teachers. It's for the ministry to work with us. We only work with public, so though teachers of Kendriya Vidyalayas and Navodaya Vidyalayas also are public servants for us in the government of India space. We are not directly looking at how do you convert a teacher into an administrator. That's something which we have not addressed, so I don't think I should speak on that.
Yeah. Anybody else on the teaching part? Yeah. Maybe.
I do not know if I'm directly addressing it, but what we feel in the industry, or I mean, you're talking about teaching as well. I think the skills required to actually do your particular role, the mapping of that to the learning content is very much important. So I actually missed the point. We're doing that and saying that, you know what, if you do this, this is the skills required in the industry, and then you are assessed based on those skills. If you acquire that, you come and get deployed, and then you have to be continually assessed. This is the effectiveness of that particular learning really. It's not like getting a certificate and going away, but it's really your application in whatever role you're doing. I think that's very important to map the skills for any role.
Thank you. Let me also invite Dr. Subhash Sarkar, Minister of State for our education. Please. Professor Pathak.
Thank you. It has been a very illuminating thing. I'm thankful for that. I have only one question. In all this capacity building, would we all collectively care for a small number of people called teachers? Because orienting teachers, creating future Karma Yogi teachers, for example, and using platforms like Sunbird, I think it is very vital. For myself, I'll say I'm only 75 years old, so I still have 25 years of work. And I have been pursuing teachers training for last 15 years, single-mindedly. I only request whether the people from panel and other places could combine hands to really create teachers for future. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. Sir.
10-second answer for you. We have an excellent program from the Capacity Building Commission called Karma Yogi Shikshak, which is for school teachers. The platform, the content, everything is ready. It's basically behavioral transformation. It's not about domain capacity of teaching, which we think our teaching educational institutions are there. It is, why should I be your teacher and how am I transforming society by being a teacher? That's what that course is all about.
Sir, I need to spend more time with you.
Yeah.
One other thing, Professor Phatak, is I see Dr. Sridhar Srivastava from NCERT. They're doing a wonderful job of using Diksha to reach out to more than 5.5 million teachers and who have got those 137 million credentials. And what they are now doing is taking it to a district level, where at a district level, the teachers can decide what course they want and work with the district authorities. So it's still in early stages, but it's exciting development where already some 600 plus district level programs have happened. Beyond the national program of NCRT, any state level training is down to district level. Of course, this is for government teachers, but it's a start.
Sir, I also would like to add from the industry, from L&T EduTech, we are also doing faculty development programs. Industry gap is not only with the students, but we have trained about more than 2,000 teachers. In Tamil Nadu alone, 1,000, telling what the industry does. We have in-house programs, twice a year where we take them to various our facilities and, projects to actually tell them what the students also need to know.
Yeah. Thank you. I think, Professor Pathak, we must say you are 75 years young. Next question.
Hello, sir. I'm from UEM Jaipur. I have a very simple question. It is to the point about digital empowerment. We are actually wanting all our students to do some courses either from Coursera or NPTEL or other things we are forcing. Now, the thing is that 20 credits have been given from the government side that can be incorporated from NPTEL to make him, maybe give him an honors degree. Now the thing is that if we have to incorporate courses from maybe Coursera or NPTEL from everywhere, then sometimes 20 courses do fall short. My question is, we have incorporated one paper every semester. Now, is there any upper limit or the lower limit that maybe government has thought of, or is there a standard like that?
There is a 40% online courses that you can take as per the AICTE regulations.
Yes.
And it is also up to your Senate. There are some regulations that are put as part of it. Kindly go through it. And it's also up to your Senate to approve which are the courses that could be taken or not taken. It's left to the institutions also. So there's enough amount of autonomy also given in that. So kindly go through the regulations. And if there is any specific changes in the regulation, you can write to the ministry and we can look into it. Yeah.
There is some confusion in the regulations.
Yeah, you can just bring it out.
And
one not a panel.
Okay,
here we may not be having the regulation with us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Last question. Yes. Yes, please. Give it.
Namaste. Good morning, sir. My name is Kamdar Taviatagu. I am from Arunachal Pradesh. So states like Arunachal Pradesh has many tribes and each with your own distinctive mother tongue. And so how does digitalization tackle this issue so that honest and true representation of the tribal languages are catered to? This is for the panel. Thank you.
Yeah. So let me take this question, if the panel permits. So I just request you to go and look at the Anuvadini stall in the exhibition today. That's the first step that we have taken from the AICTE. You could see multiple languages there, and you can, and more languages as and when more dialects will be added to that as we proceed. And yesterday also you witnessed that many of the books that have been translated into the mother tongue has been released. And as a commitment, the government is actually now pushing on to bring in multilingual education. And certainly there will be a representation from your end. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think it was an exciting, very exciting session this morning, and I think this is what is going to take India forward. And thank you all the panelists for being with us and giving us various dimensions. It was not just about students, but it was also about employees, about relearning, reskilling. And we have very good agenda and a lot of points I have taken, more than 7 pages of notes that I have taken, which we will be summarizing in the final valedictory session. I request all of you to attend the valedictory session, and then we will take forward. We are also open to a lot more suggestions. You can write to the institutions, you can write to the ministry, and we will certainly take up this. This is the turning point for us, and thank you very much, and a very exciting session for this morning, and meet you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you. I thank the panel and the chairman of the panel for this. I would request the panelists to please remain seated for a minute. We would like to present you with a memento as thank you for sparing your time. I would request Joint Secretary Sir and Honorable Minister of State to I invite to the stage Honorable Minister of State to present the memento to Professor Kamakoti along with Joint Secretary Mr. Govind Jaiswal. सब पीछे सर अगला आप दे दीजिए आप आगे आ जाइए सर हम लोग पहुंचा देंगे आपको Professor Vaz, there is a memento for each of the panelists. I would request Mr. Govind Jaiswal to present to Mr. Bala. I would request Honorable MOS, Mr. Subhash Sokka, to please present to Vice Chancellor IGNOU, Mr. Nagendra Rao. Sure. I would request Honorable MOS to please present it to Mr. Raghav Gupta. Sir, MOU sign हाँ आप present करेंगे कि MOS को करने I would request Honorable MOS to please present the memento to Mr. Shankar Marwada. Lastly, I would request Honorable MOS to kindly present the memento to Ms. M.F. Febin. Thank you everyone for joining, and I thank you Honorable MOS for gracing the occasion. I'm advised that he has to attend another session. And I thank you everyone for joining the session, and we'll try and have a one-week seminar sometime for this later at IIT Madras. Thank you so much. And the high tea is also laid out. I request you all to please enjoy that.
Thank you everybody for joining. Everybody is requested to proceed for the high tea, and this is to inform you that post lunch you can join us for valedictory session in auditorium 2 at level 2. I repeat, in auditorium 2 at level 2. Thank you.